Hello, happy Saturday. We have another Saturday food support group. And oh my gosh, it just always blesses my heart to have you guys show up and just to get to talk and support each other. Um, I went on a road trip yesterday and I was reminded of a road trip that I had near the beginning of my carnivore journey. I don't know exactly how far it was in, but it was, I want to say at least a year and a half into my carnivore journey. And I was having no cravings. I was just eating animal meat and animal fat. And I had just broke that cycle of the sugar cravings and the everything. And so I'm driving on this long drive, this long trip. I think it was like 3 hours on this drive. And I had done so good. Like I'd been carnivore for like a year and a half, and I had been given a gift, like a little gift package, and it was in the car. And it had a stick of 5 sticks of gum, sugar-free gum. It was a light blue extra, sugar-free gum. And I was like driving and it's a long trip and I'm like trying to stay awake and everything. And I was like, I'm gonna have a piece of gum. And so I'm driving and I pop the piece of gum in and I'm driving. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing the billboards and they start popping up. And I've been driving for an hour and I didn't see the billboards. And now I'm chewing the gum and all of a sudden I see every single billboard. Biscuits and gravy. Oh, I remember I really love the fries at that place. Oh, I used to have their shakes. I started seeing every advertisement for food. And then even those little like highway signs where it's like Denny's this exit, or Wendy's this exit. I started seeing everything. And I'm like, what happened? Like, why all of a sudden did my brain just like ignite? And all of a sudden, I'm seeing every single billboard. And it was because I had that sweet taste in my mouth. And whatever that was, and it's sugar-free, the chemicals that were in that gum lit up my brain so that I turned on the craving center of my brain. And then now all of a sudden I see all of the billboards. It was so crazy, the stark contrast, the difference. It was so immediate that as soon as I had that gum in my mouth, it started. And thankfully, I took the gum out of my mouth. I drank some water and I was able to finish the rest of my trip without seeing every single billboard and salivating over every food that I used to eat, every processed fast food that I used to eat. And then soon after that, I heard some scientific somebody on Instagram or YouTube started to explain what happens whenever you put a piece of gum in your mouth. Your body literally starts the digestive process. And so when you put that gum in your mouth, your body prepares and says, okay, we're going to digest food. And it starts flooding your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach with the getting ready for food. And then it doesn't come. So you're basically just this big tease to your body. And then don't you think that causes an imbalance for your body to get flooded with digestive enzymes and hormones and whatever happens whenever you're digesting something? And then there's nothing to digest. So as many people that come into this space, I just want to warn you that your Achilles heel, Achilles tendon could be that you're eating gum, chewing gum. And I would even argue mints if they have sugar or sugar-free aspartame stuff in them. And so just beware of that. And I wanted to tell you because I didn't want it to hinder your process where you're sitting there going, I'm not eating anything. But you are starting that process and you're literally like stopping the process. All right. Um, Tom says, I know what you mean, Emily. I see this in the opposite view in that all of the advertisements of things that harm you. Yes, absolutely. It's crazy that crazy media. And so Ricardo, I would love, I know that you have to go a little bit later, so I would love for you to start us off with your update. Go ahead.
All right. So hello, everyone. Yeah, I'd like to update everyone about Selena that Emily found me on Beyond Carnivore. She's rather effective. Yesterday, I had an appointment with her, and she went over things that are truthful. She pretty much covered my life, the past 15 years, that is. And so she's very good, and we already have a protocol as to how to go about in me getting better. So just wanted to let everyone know about that.
That's incredible, Ricardo. Thank you so much for sharing.
No, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, and I know just from working with Selena that she's very, very effective. And you can go find her on Instagram, Radiant Life Coding. She's on Instagram, and you can send her a message or click her link there and work with her. She is a certified emotion code and body code practitioner. And there's so much that we can address with food, but there's also some trapped emotions that are in our body that are causing us distress physically and emotionally and spiritually. So thank you, Ricardo, for that. And Monica, you had an update for us.
Thank you. So I had mentioned that I was following sort of the Dr. Elizabeth Bright protocol, which the basic day was just 2 eggs, 3 slices of bacon, 2 tablespoons of butter for breakfast, 1 ounce of cheese, 1 tablespoon of butter as a snack, 5 ounces of protein, 2 tablespoons of butter for lunch, and then repeat the snack, and then repeat the same thing lunch for dinner. And it started out okay. I was able to eat the food. It was a lot more calories for me. It was a lot more protein for me. I'm also gastric bypass. And then by the middle of the second week, I was no longer sleeping through the night. So for me, that was either waking up at like 2 a.m. and not falling back to sleep until 4 or 5, or waking up about 3 a.m. and not being able to go back to sleep at all. By the end of the third week, I guess, I had gone up a pound, 0.6, and I wasn't feeling all that great. So I stopped and I knew I needed, one of 2 things were happening for my body. Either it was not enough fat or it was too much protein. My understanding is we all sort of cortisol spike in the middle of the night between 2 and 3 as our body is just going along its physiological processes. And for most of us, that spike is not enough to wake us up. But for me, it is. And, you know, part of that could be that I'm ADD. Part of that could just be the way my body handles and processes these things. I don't sleep well being ADD as it is, but I had gotten myself up to 6 to 7 hours a night uninterrupted. And so to have that interrupted sleep again was just not worth it. If this happened to be healing, was I happy about the scale going up? No, but I just decided that for my mental stability and my emotional stability, I was tired. I'm a teacher. Sometimes I wasn't even making sense to the kids, and they're special ed as it is. So I need to be very clear. And they're going, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What I just said? I don't know." And so this week I went back. I upped my fat. I lowered my protein some. I just basically listened to my body when I was hungry. By a week and a half in, I could not eat all of that protein because me having a breakfast, which I normally didn't eat until about lunchtime, having a breakfast was meant that there was still food in my stomach by lunchtime. And then I couldn't get all of lunch in, but I just said, okay, here's all my food for the day, and I'm going to work on it. I didn't also eat 5 times a day. That just for my body and my insulin resistance, I didn't feel that that was the best thing to do. So I might have taken the ounce of cheese, and if I was having a burger bowl, I grated it on the burger bowl to just do the calories and the fat and the protein. So this last week, I upped my fat again, and I am back to sleeping through the night. I worked myself back up to 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep. My weight stayed exactly the same this week, and but I feel so much better. I had some inflammation. I flushed that away, but that was due to something else. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling clear-headed. And I just have to figure out what numbers work for me. But I knew that I was back to my old self yesterday. I ate around 10 when I was hungry. And then I had something to do at lunchtime, which took me out of my classroom. And I came back, and one of my students said, "Do you have something to eat?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, wait, I didn't eat. I forgot to eat. I didn't eat my lunch, but I wasn't hungry. And so I didn't eat. And I never ate it because I wasn't hungry. And for me, maybe that hinders my healing, but for my addiction, I have to eat when I'm hungry and recognize that I know what hunger feels like, and eat when I'm hungry and not eat when I'm not hungry, and not think about it all the time. Yeah. And so for me, that was so like, the kids were looking at me like, what is wrong with her? But I was so excited that I was like, I forgot to eat. Yay! Because I wasn't hungry and I didn't think about it. And I'm not hungry now. So just because that time has passed, I'm not going to eat. So maybe that'll take me longer to heal. Maybe that'll take me longer for weight to come off. But right now, my mental state, my emotional state, working on not having a constant hum in my head is beyond anything that's worth anything right now. Do I want this weight off? Yes. Do I feel like it's detrimental? Absolutely. But I can only take it one step at a time. And I can't, if I'm not mentally well enough, I can't work on the other things anyway. So, I tried it. This is what happened for me. And I'm glad I tried it. And it was still a learning process. Right now, I don't think, more so than not having enough fat, because it was still pretty much 8 tablespoons of fat a day. I think that much, whatever's going on with my body, that much protein creates spikes for me. I did test my insulin and my glucose and ketones along the way a few times. And my ketones were about 0.9, which is really good for me. But I was still having ranging between 100 and 122. And I wasn't necessarily doing it fasting, but I was doing it before I ate my first meal. So I had been up for some time and I was still in that range. So something was keeping my glucose higher during that time. And I think that my body just seems to react to protein that way. And that's okay. I'm glad to have done this, and I'm glad to know. So that's my takeaway from it. And I will just keep plugging forward.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like what Amy said. Go ahead, Amy.
You're not alone. I love that you tried that. And so what's funny, I just got a notification on my phone. It was on a video that I made, and it's very appropriate to this because the lady said, "You're making this way too hard. Just eat beef, salt, and water until you're full and you're done." and it popped up when you were talking, and I was just like, oh, sweetheart. If only it worked like that for absolutely everybody, because then Dr. Bright's protocol would work for absolutely everybody, and just the lion diet would work for absolutely, and it doesn't. And the hardest part to keep in a positive light is you have to try it to find out if it works. And so for you to say, I'm so glad that I did it, I'm so glad that I tried it, I love that. That is like the best takeaway from those instances, because how many times could we go, this didn't work either, and that didn't work, and I just don't want to try anything anymore. All you have to figure out is what does work. And yes, it could take years and it could take you forever to be able to heal, but being able to function day to day is so much more important. And the mental aspect of it, and your kids to be able to go, there's something wrong with you. You're like, yeah, I ate too much protein. I can only imagine they're like, wait, what? So I'm so happy. I'm so glad that you did that. I'm so glad that you also walked away from it and said, enough is enough, because I kept pushing myself for months. I was like, no. I was told this is it. This is the way. Good job. Congratulations on learning what doesn't work for you and going back to what does work for you. I'm so glad you're getting sleep again too. So important.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that, I could sit here and I know we've all done it, and question and say, well, oh my gosh, I wasn't eating that much protein, I need more protein. Well, now I know right now, maybe there's a day I will, but right now my body is saying no. And by me doing that, I know, hey, you were kind of okay on the protein. Let's try to figure out a good number, but you don't need that much right now. Your body's just not handling it. Later, I may need more. And so, like I said, I choose to say, what did I learn from this? And took a little bit of confusion where I'm saying, oh my gosh, everybody's saying you need more protein and I'm not eating. And oh, look at all this protein she's having me eat. Okay, well, now I know I did it. Not working for me. Okay. And that's all right. But I'm glad I know. So thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, because I'm sure there's so many people who have gone down this road and been frustrated. And so I think that's definitely going to encourage them. And next we have Tom. You are doing a new activity that a year ago you would not be doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was, I mean, you all know the story, but I was feeling so bad that, 300 pounds, even after I started carnivore, I still wasn't feeling 100%, but it was getting better rapidly. Before that, I used to play golf all the time, and I had, a custom set of clubs, things like that. So one day I had a FedEx delivery to my house, and it was a large item, and I didn't feel like I didn't have a tip, and I hate not giving a tip to somebody. So I literally just handed him my full set of golf clubs. He couldn't believe it. He felt like it was Christmas, because I didn't think I was going to be able to play anymore. I just looked at it and said, I'm never going to be able to do this again, and then gave it back to him. And I had before then, I actually had, the reason why I was feeling that way, I went to Topgolf with my team, and we went to Topgolf to play, and I was basically couldn't even hardly swing anymore because I was so heavy, and I was like, this is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. So after getting better and feeling better, even before I had my bypass, my son and I were at Topgolf, and I was 60 pounds lighter, and I was hitting the golf ball. I said, oh my God, I can hit the golf ball again, and I think I'll be able to play golf again. Fast forward to now, I was actually out this morning looking at golf clubs and seeing am I gonna spend the money again and buy a customized set of a nice golf clubs, or am I just gonna buy like the top flight version, $499 complete set? No, that's ridiculous. I'm not gonna do that. But just excited that I'm gonna be able to play golf again, pretty sure. So I'm excited about this coming spring, and I'm going to get out there and see what happens. But
That's
Um,
incredible. You're just like getting your life back.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tom, because I know that's going to give people hope that even if they have a hobby that they had to quit, that it can come back.
I will say though, buying a driver is like buying a ribeye. It's ridiculous how much they cost right now. So
You're like, do I want a ribeye? Do I want a driver?
I need to find a local farmer that has golf clubs. I don't know.
Get like a discount. That's great. That's great. I love it. Also, we have Audra with us today. And so Audra, I would love to hear just whatever's on your mind, whatever update you have. You always just bless my life.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for the kind words. So a lot going on here. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know me, several people on here do know me and we talk on a regular basis. So I've been carnivore for 1.5 years now. I've lost about 75 pounds.
Wow.
I had noticed that my weight was starting to creep back up a little bit. Not cheating, not doing anything I'm not supposed to do, but my weight was kind of creeping up. My belt, I've taken up my belt like this much as far as my belt goes, the notches. It's always, I mean, it's great to feel that. I actually went up a notch on my watch as well, tightened my band on my watch. I'm like, I don't need to lose weight in my wrists, okay? Can we just, wouldn't it be nice if we could just punch in where we want to lose weight? This area, this area, and this area, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. But anyway, my weight had started to creep back up just a little bit. So at the beginning of January, I decided that I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to the Vegas Meetup in 2 weeks. Amy's going too. We're about to take a picture in front of. We're going to take a picture in front of the Harley sign.
Awesome.
Anyway, we're Harley sisters, no doubt. But anyway, so the beginning of January, my weight had started to creep up a little bit. And one of the big things for me initially coming into carnivore was get off the scale. Get off the scale, take pictures, leave the scale alone. Only go there once a month. I was always a everyday weigher. It Bluetooth to my phone. I can tell you how much I weigh all the time. It's crazy. Anyway, so I gave that up. But in the beginning of January, my weight had started to creep up a little bit. So I was like, what am I doing different that I was doing in the beginning versus now? So I had to go back, kind of read in my journal. And the thing I was doing, now here's my non-disclosure. This is not for everybody. Okay, I said it, not for everybody. In the beginning, I was fasting more here and there, 12 hours, doing a smaller window, a smaller eating window. I have a tendency to graze, and that is one of my biggest problems is I will fix dehydrated ribeye fat, dehydrated bacon. And, I'll just be sitting here at my desk working and I'm like, I think I need some ribeye. So I go get some ribeye. So for me, I was snacking too much and having like 2 meals a day. So I've kind of scaled it back. I started fasting in January and my goal, nobody else's goal, just mine, was pushing for the Vegas the meetup. So I'm like, that'll be a little small goal. It's 8 weeks, give or take. I can do this 6 weeks. So I've been fasting and I usually will fast sometimes at 24, 48, 72, and lately 120. So normally I'll fast from Sunday for Friday, and then I eat Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I roll back into another fast on Sunday evening. I've dropped 12 pounds. My belt has gone another notch, and that's when my watch, excuse me, when I move my watch up another notch. So I've taken some pictures and I can see the results. And for me, that makes me feel good. Sorry.
That's okay.
Terrible allergies.
You're fine. No, I think it's awesome that you tried it.
SARS. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, I think I have that. I got to take testing for it. But I used to fast more and I could see more results and I felt better. But anyway, I have also done some emotional coding. As he was saying, I have not done it with the lady he mentioned. What was her name again? I want to look her up.
Selena Rubio, she is on Instagram. She's Radiant Life Coding.
Okay.
She's
Radiant.
amazing.
Okay, I'm going to look her up. But anyway, like I said, I've just been trying to do what worked for me in the beginning. And to the point where if I stayed, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
If I stayed the same weight that I'm at right now and the same size, I'm happy with that. I mean, you know, we can always, we're always so critical of our bodies. We could lose 10 more, 15 more, 20 more, whatever. But now I just want to be the healthiest me I can be. I want to feel good every day. I want to have mental clarity. You know, I want to have, you know, I don't want to have inflammation. I don't want to have joint pain. You know, I don't want to be addicted to sugar. I don't want to be driving down the road chewing gum, looking at the billboards. You know what I mean? But we've all been there, and it's easy to get there. And for me, sometimes I do have a piece of sugar-free chewing gum here or there. I only chew it for about 5 or 10 minutes, and the flavor's gone, and I'm done with it. But in the beginning, it was really hard for me to give up sugar-free chewing gum and to give up stevia. And they triggered me all the time. And people would say, give it up. And I'd say, oh, it won't make that big of a difference. But it did, especially early on. But now I can have a piece of chewing gum here or there, and it doesn't really trigger me for the most part. But I don't chew as much as I used to chew by far. But anyway, we do have a life. We're on the Life app for fasting group. If anybody wants to join it, let me know. Send me a message or something. You're welcome to get on board with us. And everybody just does something different. You know, if yours is 8 hours or 12 hours, or sometimes it's nice to give your body a break from food, even carnivore. You know, so yeah, I can share it in the meeting. It's under the Life app. It's Carnivore Fasters is what we've called it. There's 12 or 15 of us in there, I think, and it's no big deal. It's just a little bit of extra encouragement. Jackie's in it. I think Amy, aren't you in it too, Amy? I'm thinking. No? Okay. Gotcha. But anyway, if you want to join, let me know. And it's always good to have community. And I feel like community is where it's at. Having these meetings and knowing other people have the same struggles, it's just so important. I never knew I had an addiction until I became carnivore. And that's when I realized I had an addiction. I've done every diet on demand. I've had weight loss surgery. I did not have a bypass. I only had the sleeve. But the thing that I figured out was until I change my habits, none of that works. So I know so many people who've had weight loss surgery, bypass surgery, and they've gained all their weight back and then some. And they're like, well, it just didn't work for me. Well, it didn't work for me either. I had to change my habits and my ways. So that's about all I got, unless you got any questions.
Yeah, no, Amy, thank you so much. She put in the chat, it's at Texas Barbecue, the Vegas meetup. I'm assuming that's a restaurant called Texas Barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
It is February 25th, and it's at 2 p.m. So I'm assuming Vegas time, 2 p.m. You can contact Karen Miles. So that's at Karen.s.miles.3 or at best. What is that? Best. It's a redhead.
It's my best is ahead. Is
my best is ahead.
Yeah, Vicki Kempker, and she's in Vegas. That's where she lives. So she and Karen are hosting this. And there's other days besides the meetup on Saturday. On Friday, I think there's a hike that we're all going to do. Red Rock. I forget the name of where we're going.
Yeah, it says
there's a
Red
hike,
Rock
and then
Canyon.
that Friday night we're going to have the Vegas Strip experience. We just walk down the Strip and experience Vegas, and then Saturday's the meetup. So yeah, lots doing.
That's awesome.
Gonna be fun.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love that you guys do these meetups and get to encourage people in real life. Like that's just incredible that you guys have all of these events all throughout the year. Thank you so much. And thanks for sharing your story, Audra. Because I
Oh,
think
you're
it's so
welcome.
important. Everyone sees us like on social media and we're like, I lost 75 pounds. Everything's great. Eat meat.
Yeah,
And there's so
exactly.
much more to the story.
Yeah, I got to tell you a quick story really fast.
Go.
So I was in Nashville, Tennessee back at New Year's Eve, and I'm sitting in a hotel with my assistant from my office, and we're not there for nothing carnivore, no meetup, no nothing. And I'm sitting there in the hotel, and this girl comes up to me and she goes, "Excuse me, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm thinking she's going to ask me something about Nashville. And she's like, "Are you Carnivore Private Eye?" And I'm like, "I am." And she's like, "I thought that was you. As soon as I got off the elevator, I saw your red hair and I saw your Harley Davidson." And she's like, "I'm from Atlanta, Georgia." And she's like, "And I recognize you from social media." And I'm like, "Wow." And she's like, "Me and my boyfriend are like hotel hopping." She's like, "And we were just in this hotel last night." She's like, "And I can't believe I'm meeting you. Oh my God, you're a celebrity." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." I'm not a celebrity. And she's like, "It's so cool to meet you." So we did a quick Instagram video and a quick Facebook video, and it was so cool. I was like, I wasn't even there for anything to do with carnivore. And her name is Erin Carter, such a nice person. And she's like, "I'm very introverted." She's like, "And it took a lot for me to come over here and speak." She said, "I had to make sure on Instagram it was you." And I'm like, wow, that's so awesome. But anyway, we sat and talked. We had breakfast together, talked about carnivore. And I'm like, wow, how cool is that? She's like, "I saw on your Instagram that you were in Nashville." She's like, "But I had no clue I was going to see you."
Oh
Because of
my
course
gosh.
I didn't post a hotel or nothing. You know, I would never do that. But that was way cool. It was so cool.
That's so awesome. And and I really think that it speaks so much to the carnivore community that we really do have this just family like feeling. And I have friends in other countries. And it's just so amazing how close knitted I feel with them. So thank you so much for sharing that. And Becky, you had a question or something you wanted to say?
Hi, yeah, I have a couple comments. Sorry, I came on a little bit late, so I didn't hear the testimony of Ricardo about the emotional thing. But I also had a session with Selena. It was very interesting. I hope to do more
Good.
as time permits. And then I wanted to comment on what's going with me, but I also had a question about Audra. I haven't followed you before. So what were some of your symptoms that you recovered from, if you don't mind sharing?
That I recovered from doing carnivore.
Yeah, or things that you were working
Okay.
on that you haven't had success with, just because it's kind of interesting to know. And then I'll make a comment about some things I'm doing.
Wait a minute. Ask me the question one more time. I'm sorry.
What were some of your symptoms that you were working on that you've recovered from with carnivore? Like some people are weight or thyroid or whatever, Parkinson's.
Okay, so I don't have any of those. I have asthma and I have allergies. That's like my only two real medical problems. My big thing was I have yo-yo dieted my whole life. I mean, I can remember being a child and my mom buying me Slim Fast bars, and I wasn't happy till the whole box of Slim Fast bars were gone. Okay, I didn't eat one as a meal replacement. For me, excuse me,
And you said did you have gastric bypass?
I had sleeve. There's a difference.
Oh, okay.
I had the sleeve.
I know there's a difference because I have a sleeve and I had a DS.
Yeah, so I don't have a bypass. So basically, if I eat 1,000 calories a day, then I absorb 1,000. Where someone who's had a bypass, if they eat 1,000 calories a day, they only absorb about 600. So big difference there. I never had a bypass. So for me, I've yo-yo dieted my whole life and I hate it. Up 10, down 10, up 20, down 20. I've taken a lot of steroids in my life because of asthma and allergies. And I'm just tired of yo-yo dieting. I'm tired of not finding something that works for me. By finding carnivore, I was able to determine that I have an addiction, and my addiction is sugar and junk food. And for me, this is something that is sustainable for me for life. Now, what are the benefits I've had from it? I wasn't diabetic. I wasn't high cholesterol, none of those things. Not really any medical problems in that area other than asthma and allergies. But for me, the mental clarity is like I'm back in my 30s and I'm 55. So the mental clarity is worth every single thing that I've gone through. The inflammation, the weight loss, the having tons of energy. My skin has changed tremendously. My skin has tightened in places that I'm kind of surprised about. The fact that I can sustain this from now on, for me, this is doable. You know, like I said, I've done everything, and a lot of that stuff, I just fall off the wagon. Really, I didn't fall off, I jumped off because it was horrible. You know, this, I can do this from now on, and I plan to. So
Well,
That's awesome.
that's great. Thank you for sharing, because I
you're welcome.
missed some of it. So, and then did you say you're going to post the fasting group?
Yeah, I'll post that in just a second. I'll find it on my phone and send a link in here.
Right. I have been talking, some of you guys might have heard him. His handle is called the Bipolar Carnivore.
Yes.
He's a Ron Wrestler. Do you guys, some of you know him or follow him?
Yeah, I spoke to him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he cured himself of Parkinson's, which is what I'm kind of trying to deal with now. And he said that he had a lot of success with fasting, and he's also carnivore too, of course. So it's interesting about the fasting.
Yeah, I would definitely, he's a great guy for you to talk to. That would be great for you to talk to him.
Oh yeah, I've talked to him several times at length, and he was the gentleman that referred me to Dr. Sivas, Robert Sivas, who is called the carb addiction doctor. He's in Florida. He's the one that did my reversal of my weight loss surgery. So So I guess Monica and Audrey, I'm not sure if other members have had weight loss surgery. So I originally had a sleeve with a DS, which is a duodenal switch, in 2011. And I did lose like 170 pounds and kept it off. But then I felt very malnourished, and I developed Parkinson's and neuropathy. And so I felt I needed to do a higher fat. So I had it reversed in not October, but of August this year. And so I felt like my body is really healing, but I still need to be more consistent with the carnivore with the carbs, because I still am dealing with addiction to carbohydrates. It's still hard for me to go 100% carnivore. And I feel like I'm just, the addiction is limiting my healing, because I'm not really fasting as much as I should. I'm not fasting for long periods of times. I want to fast more, as I'm hearing encouragement from you guys.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're here, Becky.
Yeah. And then we were in Kaiser for a long time. And since I turned 65, it's really wonderful. I have Medicare now, so and I bought a supplement so we can go to any doctor we want to. So I've been trying to find metabolic doctors, which has been a little hard for me in my area. But I did change neurology person 2 days ago, and it was kind of irritating, because she just basically said there's no diet that you can do that will help this. Mediterranean diet she recommended. And then she said, you can take your medicine for maybe 7 years, and then you're just probably won't work anymore, and you're just like doomed to death. And I'm like, even though I don't really believe her, it was very hard to hear that and upsetting, So it kind of threw me back, because I had been recommended to see this practice as somebody that was more of like digging into solutions. They wanted me to see one of their friends that was a neurologist, a doctor referred me, but she's more
Becky, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Or do you have something that you're
I'm kind
wanted
of
to
rambling,
share?
So what I was saying is, like, it is, I'm like Audrey was saying, I'm finding out more and more it's addiction. I'm trying to work on the addiction part, but then also, since I have had my weight loss surgery reversed in August, I weighed 125. Now I'm weighing 175. So I'm really gaining a lot of weight. I am eating tons of fat. I feel like I'm craving butter constantly, but then I'm also eating some carbs, which make it detrimental, and I'm eating quite a bit of protein. So I'm hearing like people talking about like Monica was saying, 2 tablespoons of butter at a meal. I'm eating like as much butter as I feel hungry for, like maybe 6 or 7 tablespoons per whenever I want it. And so it's kind of like I'm trying to avoid carbs, but I'm eating tons and tons of butter, and I've gained 50 pounds. Now, most people think I still look pretty healthy, but I know for me, that's probably 20 pounds too heavy. And if I'd be better 20 pounds less. So I'm trying to like say, okay, am I healing? Do I need these things? If I can cut the carbs out, I can eat that much butter because my body requires it. So I'm sort of trying to understand, like, I'm kind
So do
of
you
gone,
have a question?
yeah, I've kind of gone mania on fat, and I'm trying to see how people, like, what do you think about the amount of unlimited fat? And that's probably not a good thing.
Go, Audra.
Because there's so much noise in the community, and I mean, sometimes it's really hard. I mean, Amy and Emily both have talked about this, spoken on this. There's so much noise and there's so many rabbit holes to go down. For me, I did the 80-20 thing. No, 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 no. It's not good for me. The that doesn't work for me. I could tell that my little muffin top that I got going on, my muffin top was getting a little bigger, and the 80-20 did not work for me. The biggest thing that I can, the biggest or the biggest advice I can give is to keep a journal, keep notes, write down what works for you. For me, that's what works for me, to write things down and go back and relook at it again. But for me, the 80-20 was a no-go. That did not, I could see my weight climbing with that. Not tremendously, not 50 pounds, but I would freak out if I gained 50 pounds, but that would put me way back up. I will never be 120 pounds. I'm not that person. But for me,
I think what's happened is when I had the duodenal switch, I had to eat a ton of food just to maintain the 125 pounds if I was eating high fat diet, because it triggered, the DS is a 80% malabsorption of fat, 30% malabsorption of carbohydrates and protein. So to maintain even 125 pounds, the fat was inducing constant diarrhea, but I was trying to eat higher fat to heal the Parkinson's and that. So it was kind of like a vicious cycle. And
the
so
duodenal,
the
duodenal switch is the most extreme weight loss surgery.
Right. I do know that. And it definitely maintains your weight. I didn't regain my weight, particularly on the duodenal switch. But then I just got on this high fat craze, which really was not, you can't do that with a duodenal switch. But what I'm thinking is, like, I kind of realizing that for 11 years, I ate a lot of food just to maintain my 130 pounds, which I was kind of maintaining before I went high fat. So now I still kind of have that same size of my gastric sleeve. And I'm like, well, this is how much food I eat. So I have to start realizing, no, I'm not pooping it all out in the toilet. I'm absorbing it. I don't need that much. I'm okay if I don't eat that much.
Yeah. And Monica, did you wanted to add something to this?
Yeah, so just a couple of things. One, I do agree with Audra. 2, I am Roux-en-Y. So yes, I have the malabsorption. And for me, I have learned how much is appropriate for me to consume to make sure that my body is absorbing at least some of what, and it's not just running through my body. Having said that, because I had inflammation of the brain, until I could get my fat high enough, probably 80% or higher, I could not get rid of the inflammation of the brain. So we have to me, I believe that you have to look individually at what health things that you are going through. So I had to sacrifice possible weight loss for not having an inflamed brain and getting that under control, and then working on those amounts. My concern for you, Becky, would be hearing fat, which is a fuel source, and carbohydrates, which is a fuel source, And too much fuel, our body is going to store it. And that could possibly be to your weight gain. Not necessarily if you're craving the fat, maybe for some reason your body is telling you that it wants the fat. And so then you have to balance and maybe lower that carbohydrate to not get that additional fuel and let your body just work with the fat if that's what it wants, or that's what you're feeling your body is telling you. So that's kind of what I'm hearing, Becky, is that maybe there's just too much fuel in the fat and the carbohydrates, since both of those are a fuel source. Where when I knew that I needed that additional fat to heal my inflammation in my brain, I worked really hard to keep carbs as low as, I mean, even if that meant don't have eggs because eggs contain carbs. And I was going to put so much fuel in by the way of fat. I just kind of adjusted that to hopefully give my body a chance to heal. So I
appreciate
that's what
that.
I took away from what you said.
Thank you. I appreciate that insight.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Audra. Becky, I want to support you and let you know that we're here on this journey with you, and that I know it's frustrating to try and figure out what works. But I'm so grateful that you're using these tools, like, going to check out with Selena and see if, you might be emotionally eating, or what is causing this binge eating. And I think it's really important to be able to come to meetings like this and to talk to other people who've been through the same thing, and to get that support. So thanks for being here, Becky.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your input.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys have a great Saturday. I'm so grateful to have you here with me, and I will see you next Saturday.